Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. This is an intraday video where we're gonna dive a little bit deeper in the 1 hour chart and 15-minute chart to see what happened and what it might happen for Bitcoin in the next few hours. So as we can see, we are in our leading contracting diagonal toward the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And we were looking for an ABC, of course, for a wave 2. And we said, of course, wave 2 might, of course, be a zigzag toward the upside here. And after this formation of a wave 1 and a 2, we might, of course, continue toward the downside in case we are in bearish scenario. So, of course, it is a crossroad here for between bullish and bearish. In case we continue and we hit the 886, therefore, we have to consider we are in a more bullish scenario, but not really very bullish. It's not to take the all-time high, but it can be, of course, an A, B, and a C toward the upside. And in this case scenario, of course, it's going to transform all of this on the 1 hour chart here as a W, X, and a Y, where your W is 3 waves down and your X is an expanding flat, and where we might have probably, in case we see higher prices, have, of course, a triangle here, A, B, C, D, E. So this might be the wave, the wave B, the finish of the wave B, as, of course, as a zigzag here. So these are the possibilities so far. We can, of course, still be very bearish. The most ultimate bearish scenario is, of course, your 1, 2, 1, 2, and a leading diagonal for another 1, 2, and then moving toward the downside, of course, 3, 4, 5, and to close the CME gap that we know between the 77K and the 80K. So what's going on now in the 1 hour chart now? We saw, of course, kind of like impulsive wave probably here for your wave 2 as a wave A. So if we go on the 15-minute chart here, we can see, of course, we have some, a little bit choppy wave, but it can be, of course, a diagonal, but knowing that this wave 3 is longer than your wave 1, however, it still can be considered probably as expanding diagonal wave 1, rare case scenario, but it can be at the end. And 3, 4, and a 5, your wave 5 is an ending diagonal here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, finishing a wave 2. After this wave 2, of course, we have here probably an A, B, because this wave 2, in case we are moving in an impulse as it shows here, it can be, of course, it's a little bit far scenario to have a wave 2 in an impulse for 886. I think even we took exactly, less from the high with few cents or dollars. So it's very, very low possibility for an impulse. Therefore, this can be a corrective wave, A, B, and a C, where your C is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, finishing somehow lower prices here. Even your wave 5 look very, very choppy, to be honest. But still, of course, it can be at the end. It can be also WXY, W, X, and a Y for a zigzag here. So anyway, from the bottom and from the top, it gives us, of course, a signal that this is a corrective wave. And probably it can be, of course, that we are moving a little bit higher. Probably we're going to estimate the situation. But here we are having a lot of volatility and a little bit choppy. And of course, this is due to some news today. We got some news, not really interesting, but still can affect the market a little bit on the dollar. So basically we are still looking for a price decision, guys. I know it's a very, very boring range for Bitcoin, but we are very, very close for a price decision. Once we finish probably this wave 2, are we moving toward the downside or continuation toward the upside in a triangle? If we know that we are in a triangle, then okay, we got at least decision what Bitcoin is aiming for. It's a long-term triangle sideways. But probably if we of course moving toward the downside, or probably from here as well, because we know a wave 2 can be very shallow. And if this is going to transform to an impulse, which is low possibility, guys, of course, but we're aiming at possibilities here. If we see continuation toward the downside, it might be that your wave 2 has finished. So what I'm looking for is to take at least the low here in a wave Y. And this wave Y is your zigzag A, B, and a C in case we are in a zigzag here. To finish a WXY, bigger WXY, which is, this is your W as a zigzag, another zigzag for your X, and a final wave Y for another zigzag here toward the downside. However, this becomes very, very choppy for a wave zigzag. Yeah, so not really convincing as well. Yeah, so it's much more because if you have a diagonal here, you would like to end in an ending diagonal, at least taking the low as well. But the diagonal here did not took the low, and that means, of course, something else is unfolding, and probably, of course, the biggest scenario where we have, of course, a much more bearish scenario for the CME gap. Now let's take a look at the KGT. On the KGT, of course, we have some movement toward the upside. We saw this move just a wick right now, and of course we see some retracement again. However, which is, of course, might be our A, B, and a C. And on the 5-minute chart, of course, we have already a divergence here. It has been already played, and then we went down again. And now probably on the lower signals, which is, as you can see, we got already a bearish signal bringing us down, and now probably we're getting another bullish signal, but it's not so strong. The divergence is not that so strong, I would say. So therefore, it might not survive, towards the upside. It can take the high, but definitely this is aiming for a wave 2. In case we move higher, we're gonna get another bearish signal here, and it might be the strongest. After moving up a little bit, as you can see, we have one coming from here, and it might be very, very convergence with it. And if we get this very strong bearish signal, it might trigger our bearish scenario toward the downside. So we have to be careful with it. That was it for Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comment, and trade safe.